Throw up your Rawkfist if you're feeling it when I drop this. Show 'em how we blow this pop. Let's make it hot. The shotgun with the body rock till the party stops. It's time to take it up a notch and keep it locked for the headbangers in the parking lot. Here we come.
Greetings, YouTube viewers, religious and rationalists alike. This is another installment of the conversation between myself and Brian Price. I was wondering, did anyone else notice how little attention he actually gave to addressing the points that I made in the video? I did, but you didn't, because you weren't given the opportunity by Brian Price. He neither linked to the video or named me in the video that he responded to. So I provided that information for you. So you began your video by accusing me of not knowing right from wrong and having no moral guidelines. Who are you to make such an assessment? Just because I reject your religion doesn't mean I'm amoral. If you follow Jesus' guidelines, you would use righteous judgment and not judge by appearance or your own perception, which is an uninformed, ignorant opinion. I'll demonstrate how you yourself are more guilty than you accuse me of being in just a moment. But first,
if this person's spouse had cheated on him and committed adultery, would he say, "Let her be stoned"? Or would he be like Jesus saying, "Neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more"?
What did I do is the correct question to ask, Brian. The answer is I took her back, time and time again, and I fought to keep our marriage together. That's what I did. Even when my dad, a fundamentalist young earth preacher, didn't think it wise to do so. I shouldn't have, but I was too weak and spineless at the time, amongst other things. And are you suggesting that if I wanted her stoned, that would be immoral? If so, you just judged God, because that's His law. The Bible says regarding God's law in Psalms 119, 172 that all His commandments are righteousness. God said in Deuteronomy 22:22 that if a man is found sleeping with another man's wife, both the man who slept with her and the woman must die. And again in Leviticus 20:10, if a man commits adultery with another man's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress must be put to death. Pointing out, but that's the Old Testament, is another way of saying that God changed His mind, and we know that shit don't happen, at least according to Hebrews 13:8, because Jesus Christ, who is God incarnate, is the same yesterday and today and forever. Jesus showed He feels the same way about adultery as He did in the Old Testament in Matthew 5:27-30, where He says that adultery will send you to hell. By the way, that famous passage of the woman caught in adultery in the Gospel of John is a later addition to the text and is not found in the earliest manuscripts. Even Cyril of Alexandria's commentary on John, who lived in the late 4th and early 5th centuries, skips right over that passage. In some manuscripts it is found in other places in John, and sometimes even in the Gospel of Luke. It is a forgery, an addition to the text, and does not belong there. Just a side note, Brian. Speaking of Deuteronomy 22, I can only call what you did in your video dishonest and deceitful. You replied to verses 25-27, while I used 28 and 29. And then when you summarized the rest of what the text says, your summarization was a lie. Read from the good old KJV, it clearly says, "If a man find a damsel that is a virgin and is not betrothed, and lay hold on her," not enticing, as you said, "and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife. And she shall be his wife. Because he has humbled her, he may not put her away all his days." This verse out of the King James Version says precisely what you says the King James never says. Lying is still a sin, Brian, whether you're doing it to defend your God or not. And now for the jealous envy argument. Ah, yes, the old changing definitions trick. As usual, it doesn't work. The King James translators rendered a version of the word used as both jealous and envy, so your made-up meaning of jealousy to differentiate the two is useless. Strong's 7067 is very short, and that's the word actually used in the verse in question, and it refers us to 7072, which is also rather short, and then also to 7065. To be fair, all instances of 7067 are translated jealous, but the tone of the verses also reflects the meaning found in 7065, being negative and angry. Please let us know where you got this biblical definition of jealous. Is it borrowed from an apologist? Is it your own apologetic trick? Or is it just a wishful thinking, faith-based lie to defend your God? Even Strong's Concordance says that this word is negative and used in a bad sense. And as for why I use the Bible to criticize Christianity is, or should be apparent. It is the sole source of information about the Christian God, what he supposedly said and did. What else could I use? Why do I argue against Christianity? Time doesn't permit me to go in depth, but it is my belief that reality should be preferred over fiction any day, regardless of the believer's intent. Religion is a major source of division in the world, fighting over nothing more than religious tradition. Wasted minds and wasted lives. It interferes with the education of our youth and gives them a simplistic, magical origin of the world that was meaningful 3,000 years ago, but has absolutely no basis in demonstrable, testable reality. The Bible, when studied, discredits itself. And as for my moral guidelines, my accountability, let me tell you. My name is Terry, and I'm an alcoholic. If you are not familiar with the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, belief in and prayer to a higher power is required if we are to recover. We then embark on a lifetime of discovering, praying about, and rooting out our character defects, which are at the heart of our problem. My walk began October 12, 2009, at which point I was a despicable creature, consumed by selfishness, self-centeredness, fear, anger, hatred, dishonesty, pride. You get the idea. Today, I pray for freedom from these qualities and search for their presence in my life, and when they are found, I ask for guidance on what to do about them and make amends when and where necessary. I have a higher power. I don't know what it is, but I sure as hell know it isn't the God described in the Bible. So don't speak where you're ignorant, Brian. It doesn't make you look noble or wise. When you state the definition of a word, Brian, please look it up and do a little research before you broadcast your lack of integrity to the world. When you tell me what a verse says, consider just for a moment that I may actually look it up to see for myself. Hopefully your viewers will learn from this video that Brian says what he wants the Bible to say, not necessarily what the Bible says. So I'll leave you with this bit of advice from the Bible.